What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to discuss if Rocksteady's new game will release before the new Batman game. Now, this video, in terms of, I'm recording a lot of videos, okay? And this is one mainly Rocksteady-centric, just so you guys know. There is a Batman video that went up today. There's also Batman videos that are going up the next 2 days. And I believe I'm going to come back to this kind of topic on Tuesday's video in regards to the new Batman game. So all these videos are very, very much connected. I'm going to say some things that may have already been said and also kind of assume that you know or that you've heard me say some other things. So make sure, I assume a lot of people watching the Rocksteady videos are also watching the Batman Arkham ones, but make sure you guys are in the loop. Make sure you guys have watched the past videos and are going to continue to watch because, again, I'm going to be connecting. It's like a movie franchise. I'm going to be connecting a lot of different things. I'll tell you right now, I don't believe that the new Rocksteady game will come out first. However, it's not like a 0% possibility, and I think to a lot of people, even to myself, that's like alarming because I think if you look back even like a year ago or the first time you heard a Batman leak or in August, you would have said like, oh, for sure, 1,000%, there's no argument. The Warner Bros. Montreal game, whatever it is, if it's if it's an Arkham game, if it's just a Batman game, whatever it is, it's easily coming out before the next Rocksteady game, right? I mean, easily. At this point, I get why some people would say, well, there could be the argument even made that if there's no game being worked on at all, maybe they scrapped it over the last 5-6 months, maybe they're starting something brand new. I mean, you could make that argument and say, well, because of that, because if they're just starting from scratch again, that Rocksteady's game would beat it. So I get that. And also with just continuously not giving us anything, and eventually, we're going to get something from... we're eventually going to get something from both studios, but eventually Rocksteady will say something. You could make the argument, like, which one is going to come out first. Here's what I'll say. One thing is, whichever game gets announced first, I do think will come out first. Now, that could really put this video's central idea... It could really hurt what I'm saying, because if Rocksteady just decides in January to say what they're doing, but not show anything, just announce that they're making a game, does that then put it ahead of Warner Bros. Montreal's game? It could. In fact, I would say it actually does. I really pray that doesn't happen. I just really don't want to believe, but I also can't believe that Rocksteady's game is further in development. Now, Rocksteady, and again, I can keep making arguments. Here's one argument I'll make against it, and I think I've said this, or I will say this on Tuesday's video. You guys will hear me say this again. Rocksteady hasn't had the perfect path of making a game, as I think we all not necessarily assumed, but we don't really think of Rocksteady all that much in terms of the development process. I don't think so. I think we think of what game are they making, but I don't think we're thinking like, oh, I wonder if they're working overtime. I wonder their hours and things like that. Like, we're not thinking about those kind of things. Rocksteady has had troubles too. Rumors had it that they've had canceled games. The rumor of the Superman game, that they had been trying to work on it since 2014. They haven't had a clear path. It could be argued that maybe they have had to restart multiple times, that maybe they have only started a couple years ago, maybe even the same time as Warner Bros. Montreal. Maybe both of them started working on whatever game we'll eventually get from both at the exact same time. The same year. That's possible. It really is possible. And you got to think, and again, like, the reason why I think that Rocksteady's game is further out, and I don't even think, by the way, I don't think it's like insanely far out. I think these games are going to be relatively, and by relative I mean like a year, close to each other. I feel like Warner Bros. Grand plan would be to have like a DC game every year. I think that would kind of be cool, and that's kind of their overall, like, okay, we have Warner Bros. Montreal go, and then maybe a year later we have Rocksteady, then maybe a year we don't have anything, and then we have another, like, something like that, or we have DLC, something like that, just to constantly, Marvel is just kind of starting, right? And we have the Spider-Man game, we're getting Marvel's Avengers, and and even those two games are separated by a year and a half. And then probably within a year to year and a half after that, Spider-Man 2 comes out. We have the Iron Man VR game, so they're expanding with Sony in the VR territory, and I'm sure we will get. And we even had, I guess, like Telltale's Guardians of the Galaxy. That kind of puts the scope of things out a little bit. But, it's clear that they're expanding and they want more video games. So it's not hard to believe that DC wants the exact same thing. So when I'm saying, like, I don't think they're going to be, I feel like they could actually be announced relatively close to each other. I don't think it's going to be as close as some people may think. And I really do think Warner Bros. Montreal is going first. I don't think Rocksteady's game is going to beat them to it. And for another reason, here's another big reason. It would hurt. And I know Warner Bros. Montreal doesn't need help having the reputation hurt. They've done it enough themselves. But having Rocksteady's game be announced first or even come out first, both of those majorly hurt Warner. Because then you go to Warner Bros. Montreal and you say, what were you doing in September? You teased your game, and then Rocksteady beat you. They announced their game before you. And then that means that their game is... And okay, maybe that second part's not true, but at least they beat you to the announcement. And that already looks bad. And then heaven forbid the game comes out first. Heaven forbid, because that would it'd be like, what are you guys doing? Do you know that would mean that Rocksteady made 2 games in the span of however long it's been, but Arkham Knight came out 2 years after Arkham Origins, and then Rocksteady got to make another game before Warner Bros. Finished one video game. Yes, both have had canceled projects. Warner Bros. Montreal has probably had like 3 canceled projects. I get that. I understand. But do you know how bad that makes you look? It looks... and for that reason alone, I feel like the plan is still... I'm not saying Warner Bros. Is going to them and saying, hey, you, Rocksteady, you need to slow down. Warner Bros. Montreal, you need to speed up. I'm not saying that is the case, but I think they've strategically done stuff internally to make it so that Warner Bros. Montreal is clearly is the closer one to completion. I truly, truly believe... And if that's not the case, then why, in God's name, did they go first with teasing it, but then following it up with absolutely nothing? It makes 0 sense overall, but I will say, because I was originally going to make a Rocksteady video, I was going to talk about like what it was going to be, or E3 2020 and stuff like that, because I assumed we would know about the Warner Bros. But now that that's changed, I can't make those videos yet. But what I'll tell you is I really think Rocksteady's time is coming soon, very soon. And so I feel like Warner Bros. Montreal needs to get out there and do. And again, we're going to talk about that in a couple videos from now. I don't think we're all that far off from either announcement, but it's definitely closer than I thought it would ever be. I mean, if they announced their game, Warner Bros., if they announced theirs, Warner Bros. Montreal, in like August, and then almost a year later, 10 months later, Rocksteady does it at E3, that makes sense. And then also, probably right around that time, maybe Warner Bros. Montreal's game would have released. So you're constantly getting, and I'm not saying they're competing with one another, they should be kind of working together because they're creating this DC universe. But their games do actually fight each other because one will take away from the other, and it will be Rocksteady's that take away from Warner Bros. Montreal. Warner Bros. Montreal has always been looked at as like and by the way, I don't think that they're the lesser, that they're maybe not as talented, that their games aren't as good. I don't think that's right to think. I don't think that is actually the case, but that is what is the stigma kind of behind them. And so you're telling me that you're going to have this be added to that's like, wow, Rocksteady made 2 games in the time that you made 0, and you did like some cryptic teases, and you got everybody's hopes up to do nothing, and then Rocksteady beat you to the punch. Like, are you going to let that happen to yourselves? I don't think so. And it's not even happen to yourselves because they're the studios, but Warner Bros., the ones who own them, they call or Warner Bros. Games, they call the shots, okay? And so I don't think they would ever let something like that happen, and that's, I think, honestly, my biggest argument as to why Warner Bros. Montreal is going first. I think I will stand by. I think it's going to get announced first, and I think it's going to come out first. If Rocksteady's game gets announced first, that doesn't guarantee that it comes out before, the new Arkham game or Warner Bros. Montreal's game, but it definitely leads to way more questions and a lot more worry, I would say. And because of that, I really can't see... I feel like there'd just be so many questions and so much drama. And then also there'd be people making stuff up, and that would add to it for sure. You'd have all of that stuff. You just don't want that. That literally would hurt so much, and that would affect somebody, or that would affect the game, or that would affect something. You can't let that happen. So I truly believe in my heart of hearts they're coming. Both announcements are coming. I think Rocksteady's time has always been and will be E3 2020. And I think Warner Bros. Montreal is going to beat them, as they should. It's not even beating them. It's just they're going to go first, or they're just going to say something. They will, they'll already have said something before then. We may see both games, maybe we see a CG trailer for Rocksteady's game at E3, and then we see Warner Bros. Montreal's game's gameplay. That's possible, but Rocksteady, that would be the first time we hear about it. And I think we'll already have heard about Warner Bros. Montreal. That's, I think, the game plan they have for the first 6 months of the year. But hey, I've been wrong before. I've been wrong many, many times, and you guys have let me know about it. But let me know in the comments below what you think about this, guys. When do you think Rocksteady's game is going to get announced? When do you think their game will come out? And what do you think about Warner Bros. Games? We obviously have had so many videos talking about that, and those will continue. I will also continue to make videos on Rocksteady as well as the weeks go on. I tend to do one every 2 weeks. I like talking about Rocksteady, whatever the heck they're making. Really, really interesting to me. Hopefully you guys like it as well. You guys have been just such an amazing community. Thank you so much for supporting me, for supporting these videos. Continue, leaving those likes, leaving those comments, subscribing. Make sure you guys have those bell icons rung, and we will see you in a few weeks for another Rocksteady video. Hey guys, firstly, thank you so much for getting to this far, this at the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. I do want to quickly remind you guys, we are doing a community event on December 21st. It is the Saturday. It's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. If you guys want to play with us, we have the video up on the channel. Make sure you guys go watch that video and leave in the comments that you want to play with us. It's also a live stream event, so you guys just want to kind of swing by, watch us play the game, have some fun right before Christmas. It's going to be an absolute blast, and I hope to see you guys there.